Andarki Namaskaram. Welcome to our YouTube channel, NEET Gurus, where we teach concepts of NEET in English as well as in Telugu. So our topic for the day is digestion and absorption. So we all know what is digestion. That is, it is a catabolic process which involves the breakdown of complex food molecules into simpler food molecules. Now these simpler food molecules are absorbed through the small intestine. They reach the bloodstream and are distributed through different parts of the body. But let's learn what are the concepts, what are the points which are important for us so that you can score good marks in your NEET. So as we already dealt, digestion is a catabolic process. Now this digestive system comprises of alimentary canal and the digestive glands. So coming to the alimentary canal, it has three parts: foregut, midgut, and the hindgut. So foregut, it includes the mouth and buccal cavity, which is ectodermal in origin. The midgut, which is also called as mesenteron, which includes pharynx to the rectum, and it is endodermal in origin. Coming to the hindgut or proctodium, which includes anal canal and anus, which is ectodermal in origin. So remember the parts, the other names, what are the organs which are involved, and their origin. This includes the path of the food from mouth through the anus, that is, the alimentary canal starts from the mouth, ends with the anus. So, mouth, buccal cavity, oropharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, anal canal, and anus. So, this is the path of the food which moves from mouth to the anus. Remember the complete path. They may ask you this as a shoe set. Coming to the next slide, as I've said you, foregut includes mouth and the buccal cavity. Now, as we all know, mouth is the entry of the food. So, mouth is bound by a pair of lips, upper lip and lower lip. Now, the mobility of these lips is caused by a group of muscles, which we call it as orbicularis oris muscles. Coming to the whale and platypus are the examples of the organisms which are having immovable lips. Now, in the humans, we can see a beauty sign, which we call it as philtrum. It is nothing but a depressed middle part of the upper lip. And there is a hairy lip, which we can see in the rabbit. So through this hairy lip, we can see a pair of incisors. This is about the mouth. Coming to the buccal cavity, so there is a space between the lips and the teeth, which we call it as vestibule. Now there is a buccal cavity or oral cavity. So this oral cavity roof is covered by the palate and the floor is covered by the tongue. So this palate is again divided into two parts where we call it as hard palate and soft palate. Now this soft palate is generally present at the terminal end of the palate. This soft palate will be hanging in the throat, which we call it as uvula. Now, the sides of the uvula, you can see a lymphatic tissue, which we call it as tonsils. Coming to the next organ, which you see is tongue in the buccal cavity. So, the floor of the tongue, you can see this buccal tongue. So, this, sorry. So it is attached to the buccal cavity through the lingual frenulum. So coming to the parts of the tongue, you can see a V-shaped structure, which we call it as sulcus terminalis. So this terminalis will divide the tongue into posterior pharyngeal part, this one, into anterior oral part. So here you can see a small dot-like structure, which we call it as foramen cecum. It is named here. Now this foramen cecum is the embryological remnant, and its upper end is connected to the thoracoglosseal duct. And at the oral part, you can see a group of papillae. The first papilla is circumvallate papillae. So this circumvallate papillae are large and these are having the taste buds. Next is the foliate papillae. So this foliate papillae are leaf-like structures and these papillae are absent in the humans. Coming to the filiform papillae here. So these filiform papillae are smaller and present more in number and they lack the taste buds. Coming to the fungiform papillae, which are present as a red dots and these have the taste buds. So if you see the circumvallate papillae and the fungiform papillae are present in the humans and they have the taste buds. Coming to the filiform papillae, even they are present in the humans but they lack the taste buds. Coming to the foliate papillae, which are leaf-like in structure and they are absent in the humans. So this is about the tongue, its papillae and V-shaped sulcus terminale and the posterior region and the anterior region. Foramen cecum is the embryological remnant. Next is the salivary glands. So salivary glands are generally 4 pairs. So first is the parotid, submaxillary, sublingual and infraorbital. So out of this 4, 3 pairs are present in the humans. That is parotid is present, submaxillary is present and sublingual glands are present. So coming to this parotid salivary glands, it is the largest salivary gland where you can see this presence in below the or in front of the ears. So this parotid salivary glands opens into the buccal cavity through a duct which we call it as Stenson's duct. Next is the submaxillary salivary gland. So these are present at the angles of the lower jaw. Submaxillary salivary glands opens into the buccal cavity through a duct which we call it as Watson's duct. And the third pair of salivary gland is sublingual salivary gland, which is the smallest salivary gland, which you can see below the tongue. And this sublingual opens into the buccal cavity through the Ravineus duct. So parotid, submaxillary and sublingual salivary glands are present in the humans. So remember their names, their location and the ducts through which they are opening into the buccal cavity. And the last salivary glands, which is infraorbital salivary gland, which are generally present below the eyes, which are visible only in the rabbit. These are about the 4 pairs or 4 types of salivary glands. Coming to the general information, the daily secretion of saliva in humans is approximately 1.5 liters. And coming to the pH of the saliva is 6.7. So these are the group of enzymes which you can see in the saliva. That is salivary amylase or tyalin, helpful in the digestion of carbohydrates. Maltase, helpful in the digestion of maltose, that is carbohydrate. It also has the lysozyme enzyme. So there is a infection or disease which we call it as mumps disease, which occurs to the salivary glands. So whenever viral infection occurs to the salivary glands, especially to the parotid glands, it leads to mumps disease. Now the food which enters into the buccal cavity gets mixed with the salivary juice. So the food plus salivary juice in the buccal cavity, we call it as bolus. Now this bolus, that is the food with the saliva, will reach us to the further parts of the alimentary canal, that is through the stomach, into the stomach through the esophagus, the food which we call it as bolus. So bolus is the food which is present in the buccal cavity, which is mixed with the saliva. So remember the salivary glands names, their location and the ducts. These are the basic information about the saliva. So next is the teeth. So if you see the structure of the teeth, you can see that all the teeth are present embedded in the sockets of the jaw bones. So whatever the teeth which are present embedded in the sockets of jaw bones, we call them as thecodont teeth, which are present in the humans. Next, if you see the teeth in the humans, so the tooth are generally formed two types, or two types of teeth are present. That is milk teeth and the permanent teeth. So other name of milk teeth is deciduous teeth. So these are the dental formulas of the tooth which are present during the childhood, during the 17 years of age, during the adulthood in the humans. So if you see in the child, during the child, you can have 20 teeth. At the age of 17 years, you'll be having 28 teeth. At the age of adulthood, you'll be having 32 teeth. Remember all the dental formulas, that is during the child 2102 by 2102, ultimately having 20 teeth. During the 17 years, you'll be having 2122 by 2122, that is ultimately 28 teeth. And during the adulthood, where you'll be grown with the wisdom teeth, ultimately having 32 teeth with a dental formula of 2123 by 2123. Now, if you see this diagram of this teeth, incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. So coming to the incisors, it is having a single root which is helpful for cutting the food materials. Coming to the second type, that is canines, it is also having the single root, and these canines are useful for the tearing purpose. So generally these canines are highly developed or well developed in the carnivorous. That is, carnivorous will ultimately feed on the flesh of the animals. So these canines are useful to tear the flesh of the animals. Coming to the premolars, so if you see the upper jaw premolars will be having two roots and the lower jaw premolars will be having a single root. Coming to the molars, it is helpful for the purpose of chewing or grinding. So the molars of upper jaw will be having three roots and the molars of lower jaw will be having the two roots. Remember the names, its functions. Coming to the hardest substance which is found in the body is enamel. So this enamel is secreted by a group of cells which we call it as ameloblast cells. Coming to the main part of the teeth, which is secreted by the odontoblast cells and which are mesodermal in origin, that is dentine. So here you can see the structure of the tooth. So tooth is ultimately divided into three parts, that is a crown, a neck, and the root. So if you see the external part of the tooth which is visible, which we call it as crown, and the lower part or the root is actually embedded in the sockets of the jawbone. So neck is the connecting place which is connecting the crown and the root. You can see the upper layer, that is enamel. Inner to the enamel you can see the dentine. This is the gums, and this inner space which we call it as pulp cavity, through which blood vessels, nerves will be entering into the teeth. And this is the root canal. These are the nerves and the blood vessels which I have said you, which will be entering into the pulp cavity. So this is about the foregut. So hope you like the video.